Kara Kennedy, Executive Director Lumity, is a nonprofit organization serving the Chicago region for over 25 years, and it assists in charitable organizations in more effectively fulfilling their missions through technology, financial support, services, and training. It also looks to mitigate the digital divide via community technology centers and offers the most active and affordable nonprofit job search site available. If you are not familiar with npo.net, become familiar with it. It is basically probably the most important tool in terms of utilizing online postings for nonprofit jobs in the Chicagoland area. So it's really an essential tool.
Right now, as of earlier today or yesterday, there were 866 jobs posted on npo.net. Of those, 680 of them were full-time and 186 were part-time. And the bulk of those really are focused in the areas that you talked about, the sectors. And of those jobs, 336 were in the service delivery. So social services is a huge part, especially focused on youth programming. So that is where the growth really is taking place, which makes sense based on what's going on and what the state is focusing on their funding for where the biggest issues are. The next area is fundraising. And when you look at the jobs that are posted, of course, the service delivery ones in the child welfare system are going to be, for the most part, more entry, middle level type of jobs. So the salaries are not going to be as large, but there's an abundance of those jobs out there. The fundraising jobs actually are, in the nonprofit world, fundraisers make more money than program staff do. So fundraising is a great area to get into. If you have done sales, those skills are very transferable. So you should definitely look at how you can transfer those skills into a fundraising type of job. The next area, which is very close to the fundraising, is program development. So that area really did cover the sectors that you focused on, healthcare being the largest one, and then education and service delivery, matching what you had talked about. And then there are a lot of administrative assistant type of jobs, executive assistants, office management type of jobs as well. So those were by far the 4 largest category of jobs that were out there, in there. So how do you really separate yourself out from just one other person submitting your resume? And it does get back to what you've all been hearing, is about relationships. And I encourage everybody to use LinkedIn to find somebody that you know who knows somebody in that organization, do the informational interviews. And I have found that, like you, Julie, and like many of you in the room, I too was laid off for 8.5 months before I got this position. So I was right at the beginning of the lovely economy taking the downturn, and I focused heavily on doing these informational meetings. Also in the nonprofit sector, I would say that, we were talking a little bit earlier about how nonprofits differ from for-profits. You really can't characterize them because they are so different. I mean, you vacillate from budgets of, barely $200,000 to, over $60 million organizations. And in an organization like Lumity, where our budget is, $1.3 million, we basically are wearing a lot of different hats. So some of the attributes that some people really like from corporate coming into nonprofit is you do get exposure to a lot of different roles and responsibilities. You do need to be able to juggle a lot of things at one time, and I've seen that that's been the one thing that some people from corporate haven't been able to make the shift into nonprofit, because I'm juggling probably 10 different major things in my head at one time, and I have to be able to keep all those balls going. And some people from corporate, had the luxury of doing a deep dive in one area.